How's it going, guys, and welcome to my channel again. I hope everybody's doing well, and today we have an interesting review here. Of course, you guys already know the Godox SZ150R, and this one here is one part of the family member from the SZ series. This is the Godox SZ200Bi, which is a bicolor light, and this one here is bicolor and also RGB. I'm gonna be showing you guys here everything they want to see about this light, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. So before I start anything here, I want to tell you up front everything that I plan to do in this video so you guys know what's going on here. I'm going to actually be comparing this light with the SZ150R, every single feature, the entire menu of this light here. Also, I'm going to be showing you guys ways to power this light because, as you know, this light is not capable of accepting V-mount batteries. So I'm going to be showing you guys every single thing they want to know about this light here. And besides the review here, I always throw some filmmaking tips, which is actually very useful to you guys, not only pertaining to this light here, but filmmaking in general. So it's also a mix of workshop combined with a lot of things here. So sit back and relax. I don't waste a single second of your time here, regardless of the length of these videos, because every second here is information. And just a quick disclaimer here, the Godox just sent me this slide for me to test it out and review, but that doesn't alter my review. And also, this video is not sponsored by Godox. I'm not paid to say anything here. They also don't get to see any preview or pre-approvals of any kind. All I do is upload the video so you guys see the video, and that's pretty much it. So when you unbox the 200Bi, you're gonna pretty much find the same exact accessories that come with the SZ150R, with the exception of the remote control, because on the SZ series, these are a separate purchase, but it comes with the light itself. It comes with the reflector here. It also comes with the power supply, and notice that this is a larger power supply given the fact this is actually a 200 watt light, and this power cord here is actually a lot thinner than this one here. Again, it requires a larger gauge. It also comes with a flexible steel cable in case you want to hang this light upside down or put this on a stage somewhere, so if the light falls, it's going to be caught on the actual cable. And also comes with a V-mount looking accessory, so you can actually wrap on this power supply, so you can actually mount it on a stand. As you can see here, I have a different approach in mounting the power supply to the stand instead of using the included V-mount shaped accessories, so you can actually wrap the power supply mount on the stand. I think this is a lot cleaner and a lot faster, so I've reserved a little belt or with a V-mount little lock thing here to actually hold an actual micro V-mount battery on the stand, which I think is a lot more useful. So I actually, again, I use this method here. If you're interested in doing this here, all you have to do is to get from Amazon a selfie stick furniture pad here, which prevents the power supply from sliding. It doesn't go anywhere. And to take it off, you just do this, the thing is off. You put it back here, tighten it, and then back on. It doesn't go anywhere. I think this is the better idea for mounting a power supply here. The reviews that I do here, some reviews they take from 1 to 5 days, but I'm actually the fastest YouTube channel to deliver or upload content, because every time a manufacturer has a brand new product here, I received this light today and I'm already hustling here working on this review, and also I know this product extremely well. But today something sad happened here because FedEx actually managed to break my front glass dome element here. As you can see, there's a line in the middle of the thing here, but luckily this thing only broke perfectly in half. It didn't shatter all over the place, so I could actually crazy glue and actually put this thing together and manage to put it back here. But this particular design here has some sort of a pressure clips here, 1, 2, and 3. So even if yours is not broken, don't attempt to remove this because you probably will void your warranty. And also, it's very difficult to remove and put this back here because I felt the pressure when I put this thing back here. So don't take it off. And the reason why they have these glasses here is to avoid multiple shadows caused by the multiple LEDs found on the COB chip. So if you remove this, not only is going to unprotect the lights, like bugs getting in here, and also the unnecessary unwanted shadows here. So leave it alone. The only reason why I removed this glasses here is to show you guys how the LED chip looks like, which I did on the review of this light. But again, I'm not going to show you guys in here because I am not removing this. And here you can see the actual differences between the both lights here. So this one here is more recessed. This one here protrudes a lot. It's like all over the place here, and this zooms out a lot more than this one here. And this also features 3 simple little Phillips screws here that you can actually easily remove this. And this one here, like I said, is a little bit finicky to remove, so don't remove this here. I'm warning you. One thing that I really like about these reflectors here, since the time the VLCs came up, and also they use the same type of reflectors here, is because they seem to be a lot thicker and more durable than the old reflector styles. And also this waffle shape here, which allows the zoom to work. So if you put a standard reflector here, borrowing from another light, don't expect the zoom feature to work, because it depends on this high shine waffle design here to act like some sort of a Fresnel light, or to have the beam wider or spottier. So you want to keep using these reflectors here. The only disadvantage that I see with this diameter here is because all my honeycomb grids that I put in here, the ones that you stamp on the reflectors, they are too big for this reflector, so I will have to always gaffer tape here, which is not a big deal. Alright, just like you guys, when I'm interested in a piece of lighting, I'm actually tuning to YouTube to see what's going on, somebody reviewing this light or this light over here, or any other light that I'm interested in it, right? But what I find in common is because most of them, they just aim the light in the background there, which completely defeats the purpose, because any light that's shining on the background, that's going to do the job. As a matter of fact, I have a $25 DJ RGB light that's shining the light, the green color you see on the background there, which is more than enough, more than good. It's a $25 light. And as you can see, it looks beautiful in the background, right? So a light like this here, I would expect you guys to be using for, filmmaking, cinematography in general, weddings, corporate, commercial, the real thing, right? So you want to see how this light actually looks on skin, like people. It can be like an actor, it can be a bride, it can be, anybody. I'm not even sure if you guys even know the Godox SZ200Bi exists, because there's a lot of noise with the SZ150R. Everybody's reviewing this light, and there's a lot of stuff going on YouTube with this light. But I'm actually the first channel worldwide to be reviewing this light here, besides the Godox introductions with this light here. So I'm gonna show you guys here why you should get this light, especially if you even have this light here. So I have both lights to compare here. So here's another interesting thing. Even though this is a SZ and the SZ series, they're both the same family, this light here is a lot different than this light over here. But this one here uses a completely different chip than this one here. So actually, when you actually use these lights compared side by side, you're gonna see that this light here is more on the magenta shift, and this one here is on the green shift. This one here has the green magenta correction because it's an RGB light. This one does not have the green magenta correction. So you're gonna have to use this light here to correct. And not only you have to use the green magenta color shift correction on this light here, you're also gonna have to play with the color temperature, because if you put them both to 5600 degrees Kelvin, for example, or both to 3000 Kelvin, or 6000 Kelvin, you're also going to be having to play with the actual color temperature, because this light can be at 5600 Kelvin, while this one here has to be like probably a 6100 degrees Kelvin, plus you're going to have to adjust the green magenta correction. So it's a little bit of work to combine these two lights on the same set, especially if you're lighting a face, for example. One is a field, the other one is a main. You're going to have to definitely going to tweak this buttons on the back here. I'm gonna show you here what this light they have in common. They have the same type of reflector and also the same zoomable feature here. Also, they come with the same type of effects on the CCT. This is identical except the candle light. This one here is slightly warmer and they flicker different, but all the other effects here, when you synchronize the both lights, they're nearly identical. They also appear to have the same body and approximately the same weight, and on the back here they are almost identical, other than this is a RGB CCT and this one is a bicolor only. Even though this is a 200 watt light and this is a 150 watt light, as soon as you kill the fan here, both lights are going to limit you to 35% brightness only. This light here, for being a 200 watt and this is a 150 watt light, I would expect this to be limited to 30% or 28, but 35 and 35 here. Now on the back panel here, this light has a very cool feature that this one does not have. To turn on the fan on this one, here you have to go through a menu and then find the fan feature here, turn it on. This one here has just a shortcut right outside the light, which is pretty convenient. So the fan is on here, fan is off. Just press this button here, super cool. Both of these lights here at 0%, the fan does not spin regardless if you tell the fan to shut off or not. So as soon as you do 1% here or 1% there, the fan is automatically going to start spinning. So let me just do one fan at a time. And this microphone here is actually 11 inches away from my mouth here. So this is as loud as the fan will get on your production when you're using either one of these lights. In my opinion, this is technically nothing. As soon as you jump to 100%, it keeps the same RPM, it doesn't increase the noise, it's the same thing. This fan here is not going to be a problem. The closest the softbox can be here, so it doesn't get in a shot, is 3 feet. I can actually touch the softbox here. So this light is going to be at least 5 feet behind because I'm using a parabolic softbox here, which is another distance of this much. So this light's going to be at least 5 feet away. So I'm just going to be flipping the microphone to the other side there so you can actually hear how much noise or how loud this thing is, which is not at all. So I'm going to flip this over there. And back here. I'm going to be turning the microphone that way. So as you can see, there's no problem whatsoever. I never have to clean the audio because I simply cannot hear my production. Even if you're whispering, I can't see a problem with these fans. This light here comes with a case like this here. Same thing with the VL series from Godox because the price of the lights. And when I actually was opening this box here, I was a little bit surprised the fact that it does not come included with a case like this here, given the fact that it is the same exact body, the same exact shape and everything. My light arrived with the broken front element here. Maybe it wouldn't have happened because case like this provides more cushion, because the cardboard box that has a styrofoam thing there, you have zero shock protection, right? This one here maybe will protect a little bit because it is very cushiony side. So, you know, it is what it is. But if you actually need a bag for this, which I'm definitely gonna get from B&H, and the item is not really available right now, but at least it exists or it's available to buy separate. Now, as you know, none of these lights here, they offer V-mount batteries, but V-mount batteries can also be very expensive, but I have a solution for you if you want to take these lights outdoors, which is not a problem at all. A lot of people, they're not familiar with the actual AC power bank generators, such as this one here. This one here is being discontinued, but it doesn't matter. Don't worry about it because you can actually search for a power bank on eBay, Amazon, or B&H. One important thing to know is that you must search or ask the seller if this thing is actually a pure sine wave. The pure sine wave is a waveform that looks like this here. And the other wave that you find with the cheaper power banks is called the square wave or modified sine wave. That one you want to stay away every time you have delicate electronic components to connect to, such as your phone, a Blu-ray player, a projector, or a light like this here, anything that has a delicate board inside. The square waves, the stuff they find at Target and Walmart and the cheap stuff, is great for running vacuum cleaners or air inflators, you know, something of that nature. But never something like this, your Tascam recorders, none of this stuff, right? So as you can see right now, the light is dead because it is unplugged. And the plug is right here. Again, no power, right? So let me turn it off here. So all you need to do is to get a power bank like this here, and then switch it on, make sure the AC is engaged, and check it out. Power. And you can actually run all the way to 100% as long as the fan is engaged here, as you can see, 100%. All the way to 0. So how long you can run this light also depends on the price that you pay for this and the capacity. For example, this one is a 300 watt power bank, this one is a 200 watt light. It's always a good idea or practice to never overload this to the whole 300 watts. The same exact way you're not going to be loading a hard drive to 99.999% because you know it's going to happen. Things are going to crash. It's always a good idea to leave at least 25% of space there, at least 10% at the most worst case scenario, right? So the same thing you should do with this here. Now there are even generators that, you know, supplies up to 1,000 watts of power, but keep the same rule of thumb, never exceed the maximum load of the thing. And the only caveat to this here is because these things, they do require a fan, so you're gonna occasionally hear it kicking it in. So when you're shooting in a very quiet place, or let's see a weird situation here. Let's say they want to do a cool interview on an abandoned property, like a building, right? Usually they have doors. All you have to do is to run maybe a 25-foot extension cord here and put this in the room and shut the door and run the extension cord under, and you're not gonna hear this fan here if that's the problem. But most things they're gonna be shooting outdoors. You don't have to be worried about noise because there's going to be cars in the street and all kinds of noises, right? So just in case you can't hear the fan, you know what to do. But this is a lot cheaper than a V-mount system because you can actually buy a power bank like this between $200, $300, $400, while a V-mount system with the actual box and 2 V-mount batteries, each one on each side, right? It's going to cost you a fortune. This is a lot cheaper. And also, since this is an AC power, it requires less amp. Everything that you run on DC is going to require a lot more amperage. So when you take this light outdoors with the power bank and everything, what you don't want to do is to keep stuff all over the place. So what you want to do is keep everything compact around you, especially if you can wear this thing here. So I highly recommend that you buy a mesh bag like this here, and also put some foam protection inside, which I can actually put the power bank inside, which allows the fan here to breathe, because you don't want to put a power supply on a regular book bag, especially that you're dealing with lithium-ion batteries. These things are pretty temperamental, so be careful with these things. Make sure this thing is breathing. So get this type of bag here. What you want to do is to put everything in the book bag here. You're gonna actually wear it like this, so you can actually grab the stand and move around, and also keep the AC cord as short as possible, only with the necessary slack for you to keep the light going. So here I'm gonna show you guys here both lights side by side. The left one is the SZ200Bi, the right side is the SZ150R. Turn on the lights. They both have the same USB port here, which allows you to do a firmware upgrade, but you don't necessarily need that, because the app itself is able to update the firmware of this one including the TL60s. So if you want to go this route here, you have to download the file from the Godox website. You gotta have a WinRAR capable extractor on a computer, and then plug the USB flash drive right here, and then as soon as you turn on the light, the firmware starts updating immediately. The easy way is to go to your Godox Light App and click update, and then the firmware instantly updates. It's a lot more simple than using this USB port here. So don't worry about too much about this particular USB, because the app already takes care of the firmware upgrade. On the left side here, both lights range from 2800 degrees Kelvin on CCT mode all the way to 6500 degrees Kelvin. The right knob here is your light intensity, which right now is at 0%, and both fans are off here, which they behave exactly the same exact way, from 0% in 1% increments all the way to 35%. To turn on the fan on this one here, you have to go through a menu and then find the fan feature here, turn it on. This one here has just a shortcut right outside the light, which is pretty convenient. So the fan is on here, fan is off, just press this button here, super cool. Now it's the fan from both lights. The microphone is actually 9 inches away from these lights. There's no problem with this fan, not in my opinion. And then now with the fan on, you go from 0% to 1% increments all the way to 100% on both lights. And the fan here, the RPM doesn't change. It doesn't matter if you are at 100% or if you are at 1%. The noise or the RPM intensity is the same, identical thing. And as you notice here, this light doesn't have the green magenta shift as you see here, the correction, because this is a RGB light and it needs the RGB diodes in order to work, and this one doesn't. This one here is towards the magenta cast, and this one here is towards the green cast. Now another cool thing here that I only have seen on my Luxley Tyco panel, let's say they have this light at 13% and this light here at 5%. You can actually turn it off by tapping this button in, and goes back to the setting that you were previously, so you don't have to lose anything. So when you turn off the light, they also remember what kind of settings and intensity they were before. So 5% here and 13% there, 5500, 56 over here. Now with both of these lights here on CCT mode, you're gonna find something very interesting here. This is a 200 watt light and this is a 150 watt light. This light here with the brightness to 1% is a lot more dimmer than this particular one here at 1%. So if you want to shoot something that's very close to this light here, you can, and without blowing up your footage, right? And this light here, for being 200 watts on CCT mode, is a lot brighter than this light here. So this one here wins on CCT because of the range. You can actually have a very dim light output to a very bright light output, which outperforms this one here. And here's the menu of this light here. You have your channel, which you can actually change it here from channel 1 all the way to channel 32, and then from group A to B, C, D, E, F, from 0 all the way to 9, and then go back to group A. And the ID, which can range from off all the way to 99. And then to access the ID, double press this button here. Here's your ID, you can change it from here. To access the color temperature here, you press the set button once, and then you can change the color temperature here in 100 Kelvin increments. This light itself ranges from 2800 all the way to 6500. So this particular remote here, if you press and hold, you're not going to see any updates until you actually release the button, and then it updates, or if you actually quickly tap here, that's when you see. So it goes all the way to 10,000 degrees Kelvin, but no problem, because it's going to stop at the 6500 degrees Kelvin at the light, and no big deal. So when you go back here, nothing's gonna change until it passes anything under 6500 degrees Kelvin. Then it starts changing, see that? After 65, it doesn't change, but nothing happens to the lights. And the last item in the menu here is the reset, which we have to take it over there with the arrow and then press the same button here quickly once. And then you see the reset here, just in case you need to reset, in case you have a problem with your Godox Light App. This is gonna reset everything. And here you have 8 effects. You can change to 3 different types of speeds by pressing this button here. From 1, 2, and 3 goes back to 1, and then go here, same thing. And here's the actual version. The current version is 1.1. I try to update, but it says it's up to date. Next, what I'm going to be doing here is to do a power consumption test on this light. Why is this important? Just in case you guys want to power this on the field using a power generator, and you guys will know what this light is going to do before you kill the power generator in a matter of minutes, right? So right now we're running at 120 volts. I am in the United States. Brazil also uses 120 volts electricity. And if you happen to be anywhere else in the world, such as the 240 volt countries, this power transformer here switches automatically to 220 volts. So let's jump into watts right now. So let's turn the light on. We are at 5600 degrees Kelvin. Let's turn the light to 1%. It's drawing about 6.5 watts. When we actually turn on the fan, it's about 7 some watts. Turn it back off. Let's now do 10%. This light is consuming about 20 watts of electricity. Let's go to 35%. Which is the limit of the fan off. You cannot pass 35%. Right now it's consuming about 59 to 60 watts. At the lowest setting here, you have this, 53 something. And over here you have 55 something. Now let's turn on the fan here. You go all the way to 50%. At this color temperature here is consuming about 89 watts of power. 2800 is going to be 80 watts, 78 watts. And here's going to be about 78 watts, same exact thing. Now let's do 100%. We're talking here 230 watts. At this color temperature here is about slightly less, 218. And all the way up, 205 watts. When you kill the light, 0 watts, turn it back on to 100%. So this is why calculating using this kilowatt is so important, because if you are in the field, you power this light outdoors with your AC power bank, right? So this light here, for example, at 35% is consuming close to 60 watts. And then you having, for example, a 300 watt power bank generator. So 300 watts divided by 60, you can actually run this light for about 5 hours, depending on the quality of your power bank. This is like rough estimate, but just to give an idea. So right now I have this light at a 1%, running at daylight, 5600 degrees Kelvin, and my light meter here, I have a ISO 800, 30 frames per second. So to accurately measure these lights here, you're not supposed to have any reflectors of any modifiers because they do different things. So the correct way to measure this is with a bare bulb, the way it comes without any modifier being attached, just so you know. And right here we have f28.3. At 10%, we have the reading of 5.6. 2800 at 10%. We have the reading of f4.5, and at 6500 degrees Kelvin we have a reading of 5.6. At 50%, 5600 degrees Kelvin, we have f11. 50%, 2800 degrees Kelvin, we have a drop of 8.5. Then we have a reading of almost f11. 100%. 5600 degrees Kelvin, we have f16. Then we have f11.5. Then here we have F16. Now when I put this reflector here, things are gonna get a lot brighter, and I'm gonna show you guys here. Nothing too crazy. I'm just gonna do one test at 1%, 10%, 50%, and 100% using just one color temperature. So with the light at 1%, 5600 degrees Kelvin, reflector on, we have a reading of F8. At 10% we have almost F16. At 50% we have a reading of F32. And at 100% we have a reading of almost F45. Right now this light is at 1% and I'm using a parabolic softbox here, and I have to move the light a little bit back so the distance is still 1 meter exiting from this diffuser here to this projection screen. So the reading at 1% at ISO 800 at 30 frames per second, you're having almost F28, almost in between F2 and F28 at 1% with the softbox on. The light is at 10%. Then we have a reading of F4.5. At 50%, the reading will be F8.5. And at 100%, from 8.5 jumps to F11.5, almost F16. Now I have the green magenta test here for you guys. This is the SZ150R on the right and the SZ200Bi on the left. Both lights are set to 5600 degrees Kelvin. Both lights set to 20%. They're both on CCT, of course. And as you can see, there's a slight green cast over there on the 150 and a slight magenta cast on the 200 here. So the first attempt is to actually utilize the green magenta shift correction over there. Eyeballing, I guess you guys would agree that this is actually the closest color matching, again eyeballing, that you can possibly have. So this light is actually at 5600 degrees Kelvin, and that took a -12 at magenta and the color temperature jumping to 6100 degrees Kelvin. So there's a slight play in difference in color temperatures here between the two lights, plus it requires some magenta. So if I went back to 5600 degrees Kelvin here, so this light here is slightly warmer and greener, and this one here is slightly cooler and more magenta. So right now I'm at 50% here. Keep in mind the green magenta increases as you up the intensity. So right now I have even more control here. I can go all the way to -40 right now. At 100% it can go all the way to -50. So I'm gonna reset it here to 0. So right now, this light here still looks more magenta than that one. That one looks greener than this one here. So again, eyeballing, you guys, I guess, will agree again that these lights are very close to matching the colors here. I mean, I'm not a computer, but you know, when you're on set, you gotta do something quick. This is what you have to do. So at 50%, this light here is at 5600 degrees Kelvin, and this one here required a correction to 6000 Kelvin and a -34 magenta. And at 100% here, the closest that I could bring both lights together to the same color is 5600 Kelvin here and 6000 Kelvin over there, all the way to -50 on the magenta correction. So if I put this back to normal, now with the same color temperature and with the green magenta correction to 0, it looks like this here. So what I did was go up to about 6000 Kelvin and then bring the magenta all the way. I was playing with every single digit here. At 100% you have to bring it down to all the way to -50, and I still see it a little bit greener than this one here by like 8% or so. So this is as much magenta I can actually bring it down, so it looks like this here. Here's another interesting thing. Even though this light provides 50 watts more power than the SZ150R, as you can see, this light at 1% is capable of delivering a much dimmer light intensity than the SZ150R. And this is actually advantageous if you need to shoot something very close to the light or bare bulb or whatever it is they need without blowing up your footage, right? And as you can see, there's a big difference here, 1% here, 1% there. And at 100%, this light is actually brighter than that one. So this light here is cool because at 1%, it can be much more gentle than that one. And this one, for being a 200 watts, obviously expect this to be at least 25% brighter than that one there. This particular candle light here, which is probably an effect you guys are going to be using a lot in case the movie scene is near a fireplace or something like that. This light here is about 3000 degrees Kelvin, and the other one has RGB diodes, which helps to bring it down to even a more like stronger, like warmer color. But as far as the pattern goes, the effect itself is pretty much the same thing that they're doing here, which is a good thing. Now I'm going to be demonstrating the app here with all these lights together. Let's launch the Godox Light App. I have my existing thing here. This one is called TL60. Click on that. As you can see, all 3 lights are going to come online. It takes a while, but they do. There you go. And the SZ200Bi is not online because, as you remember in the video here, I actually have reset the network. So all we got to do is select here and remove it. Confirm. Now we're going to go to the top right and click Add. There you go. Click Confirm on the bottom here. And there you go. Now you can actually control each one of these lights separately or as a group. For this particular exercise here, I'm not going to be combining 2 groups because I have already demonstrated on the SZ150R how to do the group. So I'm going to keep it as an individual here. So right now I want to be controlling the SZ200Bi. Click on it. You are in CCT mode. If you want to change, all you have to do is to press this top thing here, and you have the CCT option and the effects option on this particular light. So I'm going to go back to the CCT, and the magenta green correction doesn't work because this is not a RGB light, so it doesn't have that feature. But you can actually control here on the CCT from 2800 all the way to 6500. So if you go beyond that point here, nothing's going to happen because the light is not capable of doing this. So this is actually laid out universally in case a particular light is able to go this low or this high, right? Then press the top button again, go to the effects, and then you have all the stuff here, all the effects there, and go back to the CCT. Now to go back to the main page, on the bottom left, click device list. And then now I want to control the SZ150R, which you can go to the RGB and the light intensity here, saturation and all that. So I want to keep everything low so to keep the exposure pretty on the camera there. Go back to the device list. The TL60, the same exact thing, is going to allow you to access all these features here. So let's go to the HSI. You can actually control the intensity of this one here, and also again the color temperature. Go back to the device list, you control the other one to whatever you like. In this case I want to go to CCT and go all the way to 8500. I'm not sure if the light reaches that far. I think it does. But you can actually control this. You can go back to the RGB if you want, the HSI. And then there you go. So you can actually control all these lights here. And again, you can actually shut everything off or keep some on, the other ones off. Apparently, if you add the SZ200Bi on this particular group here, you cannot control everything because the bicolor only is getting in the way. So what you're going to do is go to the device list, click on Edit, and then remove this light here. And then let's see what happens here. So Scene Control. And then you can actually access all this stuff here. And the reason why the TL6s, they are brighter than the other lights is because the fan is off, is limited to 35%, while the TL60s is not limited to anything. And then when you have the fan on, everything becomes full blast capable. Every light is at 100% except the SZ200Bi, which is being excluded from the group. That's why when you turn everything off, the SZ200Bi doesn't do anything. You have to physically shut it off or put this light in another group, maybe with other 200Bi. This app is pretty simple enough to understand, but if you need even more detail of information, you go to the SZ150R review that I did, and then you can actually watch the whole chapter regarding just the app itself. And that's the end of my review, and I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That tells the YouTube algorithms that this content is actually great, so other cinematographers can actually benefit from the same hard-working review that I do here. And if you have any questions, of course, I love comments. I respond to everything that I see down in the comment section there. So thank you again very much for your time, and I'll see you next time.